Radical Islamists are gearing up for war against Jews in South Africa. Let's watch this shocking video. While the tension between pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian South Africans does seem to be rising, especially with the recent Cape Union Mart debacle and court case, it seems to be getting to a level that's really starting to become alarming, not only in terms of political discourse, but in terms of physical safety for people. Now, I'm not somebody who likes to be sensational, but unfortunately, this is an important message and a bunch of important videos that I actually have to share with you because we need to get this information out there. We all need to become aware that unfortunately there are people who are becoming incredibly aggressive with their rhetoric, and much like how overseas you see a lot of violence shaping up, we could potentially see that in South Africa if people don't nip this issue in the bud and make sure that we give it attention so that things don't escalate further. Now, before I show you exactly what I'm talking about, could I please remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's free to do, and all you have to do is click on the subscribe button below. And if you would like to become a channel member and enjoy additional perks, you can do so by becoming a Power Club member, and all you have to do is click on the join button below. Now let's get into this. So the video I'm about to show you is of an Al-Jamaah member named Imran Musa. And just for those who might not know, Al-Jamaah is quite a small political party. It's an Islamic or Muslim-focused party, and they generally only have a presence in Lenasia, in Johannesburg, and then Cape Town. But he is about to spew some very disturbing rhetoric that we need to pay close attention to. So let's watch.
So firstly, let me greet you all. Assalamu alaikum. It's very important that we understand that we have to bring as many as people as possible from Pakistan here. I was just speaking to Amir earlier.
So right off the bat, he's saying that we need to bring as many people from Pakistan here. And of course, that's not going to go down well with many people because there's this very big anti-illegal immigration movement that's raging on. But he's about to say something that's a lot more disturbing than that.
Yeah. And I'm telling him how important is it to bring more Pakistanis here. Because 15,000 Jews have come from Israel into Cape Town. And they are trained.
So he's saying that 15,000 Jews have come into Cape Town from Israel. There's two things I need to say here. Firstly, there's no actual research or data that backs this up. Maybe there are 15,000 Jews in Cape Town. I don't know. There isn't enough up-to-date census data on this. But the second issue that I have, apart from this baseless accusation, is that he specifically refers to Jews, not Israelis, but Jews. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because a lot of these anti-Israel people will say, oh, I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't have a problem with Jews. I'm just anti-Zionist. Yet listen to his rhetoric and how he, much like many others, will use Israel as a sort of cloak for how they actually feel about Jewish people. But let's continue the video.
Military-wise, come here into South Africa, and we also have to plan. Yeah. It's important for us to stand together, unite together, and ensure that we are also strong. So alhamdulillah, I'm so proud and to be here. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I studied in Pakistan also, so I'm very happy to be here today and to be with you all today. And I'm hoping that with the coming elections that we...
So that's as much of the meeting that we were able to get on film. But ultimately, the very big problem here is that he goes and asserts that somehow all these Israeli Jews are militarily trained, and so we also need to be strong, he says. And how is he supposing they do that? By bringing over more and more Pakistanis. Now, there's another important fact that I need to clarify. Many people in Israel have their mandatory military service. That's a normal thing. Doesn't mean that they're radicals or that they're looking to hurt people. They just happen to have their mandatory service because that is what they need to do to defend their country, first of all. Second of all, this idea that there are 15,000 Israelis in Cape Town is unsubstantiated. He does not have any data to actually back this up. And so what he's ultimately doing is he's pushing forward these very dangerous ideas, saying that somehow there's this influx of Israelis coming in. And of course, people conflate Israelis and Jews, whether or not a Jew is Israeli or South African or some other nationality. And then he's saying, well, because they're all militarily equipped or trained or whatever, we're also now going to have to train ourselves. And so my big question is, what are you training yourself for? It's certainly not just for fun or just for regular, crime issues, because all of a sudden you are relating your own importation of Pakistanis and getting ready with these Jewish people, or Israelis as you call them, who are militarily trained. And I just want to point something else out. There's nothing wrong with being trained in military or self-defense or whatever you want to call it, because ultimately South Africa is a dangerous country, whether people like it or not. And regardless of how dangerous it is it not a good thing for people to know how to defend themselves, whether they get firearms or they train in a martial arts? And furthermore, people talk about military training as if it's this terrible thing, but I hate to break it to you, but ultimately, whether you look at the different martial arts or firearms training, most of it comes from military purposes. Just because a person is trained in that sort of stuff doesn't mean that they're getting ready to wage war. They could just be looking to defend themselves. And so what Musa is doing is he's making very dangerous assertions based on pretty much no actual factual evidence. And this sort of rhetoric that he's spreading is very dangerous because it could be giving people the wrong ideas about who is coming in and what their intentions are. And so this really is stoking the flames of violence. But before people dismiss this and say, oh, well, it's just one isolated incident, I do want to show you 3 other videos, which are very important for us to watch, because it appears that this sort of pro-Palestine radical movement is really swelling, particularly in Cape Town. And this is very worrying, to say the least. So I want to show you this specific video from the Cape Town Marathon. And while many people are used to anti-Israel chants from these kinds of groups, they're getting more violent with their rhetoric. And here they specifically chant "Boom, boom, Tel Aviv." We've heard this kind of rhetoric overseas, and now it seems that South Africans are calling for violence. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! I just want to point out, I don't know if you saw, but some people there had Hezbollah flags, which is of course a terror organization, just to add to the concern. There we see it again. And an Iran flag as well, just to let everybody know these people support the IRGC. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Can we also just point out how they have this massive banner saying Cape Town is not Tel Aviv? It's just another basic message for people saying, if you happen to be born in this other place, Israel, or specifically Tel Aviv, you are not welcome here. Doesn't matter what your opinions are or what kind of a human being you are. Because of where you are born, you're not welcome, which is incredibly problematic in a country with a history such as South Africa's. Now, I want to show you a different incident which happened where a pro-Palestine mob harassed a man sitting at a restaurant. Now, it's very important that we pay attention to the exact details because this is quite disturbing, to say the least.
You are provoking the people.
I'm not provoking. I'm
Okay,
standing
all
here and
of
they're
them are
shouting bomb Tel Aviv. My family live in Tel Aviv.
Boom, boom, Tel Aviv. My family
That's
is in
hate
Palestine.
speech.
You see here?
That's
Boom,
hate.
boom, Tel Aviv.
That's starting
Boom,
violence.
boom, Tel Aviv. What is doing in Palestine?
One bomb Tel Aviv. That's starting violence.
Fuck you, man. Boom, boom, Tel Aviv.
So it's not enough that they're all in terrorist regalia and wading in between traffic and really just disturbing people on their day out. They also have to harass a man at a restaurant. Now, it's important to note how the police officer that got involved claimed that the man was provoking them. Yet if we actually look at the details of what happened, the man is at a restaurant. He's in a confined space. He is on his own. He might have other people sitting there. We didn't see them in the video, but they are a big mob. He is in the minority and he's in a confined space. They came over to him. They outnumber him. And so who's really provoking who? Second of all, as he mentioned, he has family living in Tel Aviv and they are calling for Tel Aviv to be bombed. That is incitement to violence, as he rightfully pointed out to the police officer who did eventually lead those people away. And so this is no longer just claiming, oh, Israel's apartheid or, they're doing something wrong. These people are now starting to become more violent with their rhetoric and disturbing people who are going about their ordinary day. I do want to just give one more video for you to watch. And this is also a pretty disturbing one because recently we all saw how Cape Union Mart decided to take the Palestinian Solidarity Committee to court due to their wrongful behavior and protests outside of Cape Union Mart on V&A waterfront in Cape Town, whereby they lay some very problematic and baseless claims against the company. And of course, we saw how both pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel or pro-Cape Union Mart protesters arrived outside the courthouse. Now, I did notice how a lot of mainstream media companies decided to ignore the pro-Israel supporters because, of course, it's not convenient for them to actually acknowledge that there are people who are Zionist or at least support Cape Union Mart in this matter. But unlike them, we're going to look at the reality of what happened, which is that there were protesters on both sides. And what was particularly shocking is that beyond just protest, one of the PSC members decided to target Bafana Modise, who is from the South African Friends of Israel. And he tried to basically find Modise guilty of physical assault. And so this man, after the incident supposedly happened and he caught it on camera, decided to go and lodge a complaint at the police station and basically lay an assault charge. Now, this is incredibly serious because ultimately not only is this person trying to, attack pro-Israel people with rhetoric, but even trying to get a criminal case being lodged. And while people might say, oh, well, he got a video, two very important things need to be established. First of all, his video didn't actually show any physical contact. And second of all, somebody else, thank God, took a video of the same incident. And it was found that this PSC member lied about the whole thing and actually tried to fabricate a fake assault, whereby he is trying to get Bafana Modise criminally charged on a complete fabrication. Let's watch this shocking video. So there's Bafana Modise, and here's the man. Look how he just drops to the ground. And of course, the person on the loudspeaker saying they're attacking our people. So this is a clear, sinister plot to implicate Bafana Modise and lay criminal charges against him. If that's not sick, I don't know what is. And so ultimately, my message to you all is this. These kinds of problematic people, albeit a small minority, are only amplifying their voices increasingly in South African society. They're trying to go after people and lay criminal charges against them. They're attacking Cape Union Mart. They're attacking innocent runners at the Cape Town Marathon. And of course, we've got an Al-Jamaah member calling for the importation of more Pakistanis due to basically trying to fight some sort of an armed struggle against Israelis. These are issues that should not be taken lightly. And the governments in Cape Town, whether it's the mayor, Jordan Hill-Lewis, or other people of any political party, are absolutely silent on all of this. They are doing nothing to speak out against these kinds of people. And ultimately, the silence from all political parties is deafening, to be honest. I think the time has come that South Africans need to take this sort of stuff seriously, because these people are attempting to disrupt the society in which we live. These are people who are troublemakers and are ultimately looking to rock the boat, looking to cause tension within our society, and we should be focused on silencing them, whether it be through courts or whether it be through political action, and ensuring that South African society and the vast majority of decent South Africans are not affected by these scoundrels. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. If you found it informative, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is The Power Pot.